Every time you see 3, 3, 3, you think angels are sending you a message. They're not. What's actually happening is far more powerful. You're detecting your own consciousness, broadcasting at a coherent, creative frequency. Here's what nobody tells you. Numbers aren't mystical signs. They're frequency signatures. The number 3 represents the first structure of creation itself. You can't form a geometric plane with 1 or 2 points. You need 3. Your DNA operates in triplets, called codons. Atoms have 3 fundamental particles. Reality speaks in threes. When you see 3, 3, 3, you're not receiving guidance from outside. You're becoming aware of a quantum bifurcation point, a moment where multiple timelines converge, and you have maximum creative power. This video reveals the actual mathematics behind number synchronicities, and why 3, 3, 3 appears precisely when your reality is about to split into a different timeline.
What if I shared with you that every single time 3, 3, 3 shows up in your life, you're not getting a download from angelic beings, but instead you're tuning into a frequency pattern that's been transmitting through your awareness this whole time? And there's an actual quantum process explaining why these specific numbers show up at the precise moments when your reality is on the edge of splitting into a completely different timeline. The instant you grasp what's genuinely occurring when 3, 3, 3 shows up, you'll understand that number synchronicities aren't magical messages from the cosmos. They're awareness checkpoints, revealing the exact moments when you hold the strongest creative influence over your reality. Here's what makes this discovery so transformative. Most people encounter repeating numbers roughly 3 to 7 times every week. Yet 99% of these encounters get brushed off as random chance or given superficial spiritual explanations that totally bypass the real mechanism happening underneath. You spot 3, 3, 3 on your phone while weighing a big decision. You catch it on someone's license plate just before a crucial conversation. It pops up as your receipt total when you're doubting your direction, and each time you're hearing it means the ascended masters are watching over you or confirming you're walking the right path. But nobody breaks down why this happens. Nobody lays out the actual quantum mathematics operating behind triple-digit patterns. Nobody shares what ancient wisdom keepers understood about the number 3 that elevated it to the most sacred number across nearly every spiritual practice throughout human existence. Your spiritual guides aren't misleading you. They're honestly passing along what they've learned, repeating interpretations that have been diluted through generations of mistranslation and incomplete understanding. The original wisdom about 3, 3, 3 wasn't centered on receiving messages from elsewhere. It was about recognizing the mathematical blueprint of consciousness itself. Right now, I'm asking you to sit with something that will fundamentally shift how you perceive every number synchronicity moving forward. Take a full breath and really let this settle in. Numbers aren't random symbols we made up. They're vibrational fingerprints. Each number holds a distinct energetic pattern that matches a particular state of consciousness. When repeating numbers catch your attention, you're not observing something outside yourself. You're becoming conscious of the frequency your awareness is broadcasting in that precise instant. Here's where everything gets really fascinating. The number 3 represents the first number of actual creation. Not 1, not 2, but specifically 3. Think about this for a moment. 1 represents unity, consciousness in its undivided state. 2 represents polarity, the division between the one observing and what's being observed. But 3 is the first number that births something completely new. It's the emergence of dimension itself. In sacred geometry, you can't form a plane using just 1 point, or even 2 points. You require 3 points to define a plane, to create the first geometric shape, which is the triangle. This isn't poetic symbolism, it's pure mathematical truth. 3 is the number where consciousness transitions from abstract concept into physical form, from what's possible into what's manifested. The ancient Egyptians grasped this on a profound level. Their entire spiritual framework was constructed on groups of three: Osiris, Isis, and Horus, father, mother, child. The Holy Trinity showing up in Christianity, the Trimurti in Hinduism, the three jewels in Buddhism. Every major wisdom tradition acknowledged that three represents the core creative architecture of reality itself. But when three appears before you, you're not just seeing one three, you're witnessing three threes. This is where the mathematics becomes quantum. 3 multiplied by itself produces 9. And 9 is the number of wholeness, the completion of a cycle before something new begins. But 3 doesn't simply add up to 9. It reveals 9 in its process, in its emergence, in its active state of becoming. Dr. Masaru Emoto's work with water crystals, while centered on emotional frequencies, proved something essential about repeating patterns. When water experienced coherent, repeated frequencies, it formed flawless geometric structures. When exposed to scattered, random frequencies, the Pythagorean mystery school, one of the most sophisticated mathematical and spiritual systems in ancient Greece, taught that numbers were reality's language. But they weren't talking about numbers as counting or calculating tools. They meant numbers as archetypal energies, as consciousness patterns that organize reality at the quantum scale. Pythagoras uncovered that musical harmonies could be expressed as straightforward number relationships. A perfect fifth is 3 to 2. A perfect fourth is 4 to 3. The most beautiful sounds in nature all follow these mathematical connections. He understood that if sound follows mathematical laws, and sound is vibration, and everything is vibration, then everything follows these same mathematical patterns. This is where cutting-edge quantum physics meets ancient understanding. Physicist Max Planck discovered that energy doesn't flow smoothly but in distinct packets called quanta. Each quantum carries a specific frequency. Your consciousness works the same way. It doesn't exist in a smooth, continuous flow. It leaps between distinct frequency states, and these leaps follow mathematical patterns. When 3 appears, you're catching yourself during a quantum leap. Your consciousness is transmitting at a frequency that's mathematically synchronized with creative manifestation. The triple repetition shows this isn't a random spike. It's a stable pattern, a coherent state powerful enough to organize reality around it. Have you ever noticed that 3 frequently appears when you're contemplating something specific? When you're considering a choice, visualizing a possibility, or questioning a path? Drop a comment sharing what was on your mind the last time 3 showed up for you. This isn't just curiosity. Your response will uncover something significant about your current creative frequency. What spiritual teachers often leave out is that in every single moment of your existence, reality is branching into unlimited possible timelines. This isn't fantasy. It's quantum mechanics. The many worlds interpretation of quantum physics, created by physicist Hugh Everett, shows that every quantum event generates a branching of reality into multiple outcomes. But here's what transforms this from theory into something practical. Not every moment carries equal creative potential. Most of your day unfolds in habitual patterns, unconscious routines, automatic reactions. During these moments, you're simply riding the momentum of existing timelines. You're on autopilot. But there are particular moments, brief openings, where multiple timelines come together, and your consciousness has maximum choice over which one to follow. These are bifurcation points, moments of quantum instability, where small choices can create dramatically different outcomes. 3 appears at these bifurcation points. It's not a message from something outside you. It's your higher consciousness alerting your everyday awareness that right now, in this specific instant, you hold extraordinary creative power. The timeline is soft, flexible, responsive to intention. Picture it like this. Imagine reality as an enormous river system, with countless branches splitting off in every direction. Most of the time, you're flowing with the current of a major river, and it would require massive effort to shift course. But at certain points, you reach a fork where the river divides. At these moments, the smallest adjustment determines which branch you follow, and each leads to completely different destinations. The number 3, 3, 3 marks these forks. But there's something even more profound unfolding that most people never discover. The repetition of 3 isn't just pointing out a choice point. It's showing you that you're at a triple convergence, a moment where 3 major timeline possibilities are all within reach simultaneously. In quantum physics, this is known as superposition. A quantum system exists in multiple states at once until observation collapses it into one specific state. Your consciousness does the same thing. At any moment, you exist in multiple probable states, multiple possible versions of yourself. Usually, these probabilities lean heavily toward one outcome based on past patterns and habits. But at 3 moments, the probability distribution becomes balanced. 3 major timeline options have roughly equal potential. Your next the tree of life, the central symbol of Kabbalah, has 3 pillars representing 3 fundamental forces: mercy, severity, and balance. Every creative act requires all 3. Too much mercy without severity leads to formless chaos. Too much severity without mercy leads to rigid stagnation. But when the 3 forces balance, creation flows naturally. When 3 appears, these 3 forces are balanced in your consciousness. You're not too passive and not too aggressive. You're not too attached to outcomes and not too detached from participation. You're in the perfect middle path, the 0 point, where maximum creative potential exists. This is the state that quantum physicists call coherence and mystics call enlightenment. It's not about achieving something or transforming into someone different. It's about recognizing the perfect creative power that exists in balance, in the middle way, in the sacred trinity of consciousness. If this understanding is clicking with something deep inside you, if you just had an aha moment, tap like, because like attracts like, and subscribe. Stay with this space, grow with us. You're stepping into a frequency where these kinds of breakthroughs are our foundation. What if I shared with you that the number 3 isn't just spiritually meaningful, but is actually woven into the structure of your physical body at the molecular scale? This is where science and spirituality become indistinguishable. Your DNA is constructed from 4 nucleotide bases, but they combine in groups of 3 to form codons. Each codon specifies 1 amino acid in protein creation. The entire genetic code, the instruction manual for building and maintaining your physical body, operates in triplets. This isn't random. It's the fundamental mathematical structure of biological information. Life itself uses base 3 mathematics at its most basic level. When 3 appears, you're literally being shown the mathematical language your own biology speaks. But there's something even deeper happening. Russian scientists Pyotr Garyaev and Vladimir Poponin discovered that human DNA generates torsion fields, spiraling patterns of energy that can influence physical matter at a distance. These fields respond to human consciousness, especially to coherent emotional states and focused intention. When your consciousness enters a coherent state marked by seeing 3, your DNA begins broadcasting torsion fields at maximum strength and coherence. These fields literally organize reality around you, influencing probability distributions, synchronizing coincidental meetings, and materializing resources and opportunities. This is what ancient alchemists called the philosopher's stone, not an actual stone, but a state of consciousness where thought translates directly into matter. They encoded this knowledge in symbolic language to protect it from those who would misuse it. But the core truth is straightforward. Consciousness, when sufficiently coherent, can restructure physical reality. The number 3 appears when your consciousness reaches this coherent state. Not because angels are sending you a message, but because your awareness has expanded enough to detect your own coherence frequency. You're literally becoming aware of your own creative power in real time. Consider the structure of the atom itself. Protons, neutrons, electrons, three fundamental particles that combine to create all physical matter in the universe. Even at the subatomic level, reality follows the rule of three. Quarks, the particles that make up protons and neutrons, come in three colors in quantum chromodynamics. The universe seems to have a preference for threeness, a mathematical elegance that repeats at every level from quantum to cosmic. When 3, 3, 3 appears, you're touching this fundamental structure, this basic operating system of reality itself. Ancient mystery schools required initiates to pass through 3 degrees of knowledge: novice, adept, master. 3 stages of awakening that corresponded to 3 levels of reality: physical, mental, spiritual, body, mind, soul, matter, energy, consciousness. The Egyptian pyramids, the most mathematically precise structures ever built, right now, become aware of your breathing. Notice how each breath has 3 phases: inhalation, pause, exhalation, then pause again before the next inhalation. Even your breath, the most fundamental act keeping you alive, follows the Trinity pattern. You're breathing in 3s every moment of your life. Let me share what's really happening. When 3, 3, 3 keeps appearing in your experience, this is the truth that gets buried under surface-level, spiritual interpretations. You're not receiving a message, you're becoming the message. The universe doesn't send you signs because it wants to communicate something to you. The universe reveals patterns because it wants to communicate something through you. You are not separate from the creative force of existence. You are that force recognizing itself. When 3, 3, 3 appears, it means your conscious mind and your higher consciousness are temporarily synchronized. The veil between your everyday awareness and your quantum self has become thin. You're experiencing a moment of remembering, a flash of recognition that you are far more than the small self you usually identify with. In this moment of recognition, you have access to creative abilities that seem impossible from the limited self-perspective. Sudden insights arrive fully formed. Solutions to complex problems become obvious. The right person calls at the perfect time. Resources appear from unexpected sources. This isn't luck or divine intervention. It's what naturally happens when consciousness operates from coherence instead of fragmentation. The triple repetition of 3 creates what mathematicians call a fractal pattern. A fractal is a geometric shape that contains self-similar patterns at every scale. Zoom in on any part of a fractal and you see the same pattern repeating. The entire structure is encoded in each small piece. Your consciousness is fractal. The same patterns that organize galaxies organize atoms. The same mathematical principles that govern the cosmos govern your daily life. When 3, 3, 3 appears, you're recognizing this fractal nature of existence. You're seeing the pattern within the pattern within the pattern. This is why 3, 3, 3 often appears in clusters multiple times in a short span. You might see it on a clock, then on a receipt, then in a phone number, all within the same day. This clustering isn't the universe trying harder to get your attention. It's showing you that you've entered a coherent frequency state that's stable enough to sustain across multiple moments. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're slightly off the frequency, you get static mixed with music. But when you tune exactly to the station's frequency, the signal becomes crystal clear and stays clear. Seeing 3, 3, 3 repeatedly means you've tuned to a specific consciousness frequency and you're maintaining that tuning. But here's what most people do wrong. They see 3, 3, 3. They get excited. They feel validated. And then they immediately let their consciousness drop back into scattered, reactive patterns. They treat the number sighting as the goal rather than the beginning. 3, 3, 3 isn't saying, "You're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing." It's saying, "You've reached a threshold. Now is when the real work begins." It's an invitation to consciously sustain the coherent state you've momentarily achieved. Ancient Buddhist texts describe this as the difference between Kensho and Satori. Kensho is a brief glimpse of enlightened consciousness, a momentary opening. Satori is the sustained embodiment of that consciousness, making it your permanent state. 3. 3 is the Kensho moment. What you do after seeing it determines whether it becomes Satori. The number 9, which 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals, represents completion and integration. It's the last single digit before returning to 1 again at a higher octave. When 3 appears, you're being shown that you're completing one cycle and preparing to begin another at a higher frequency level. But completion doesn't mean ending. It means integration. It means taking everything you've learned, experienced, and become and crystallizing it into wisdom. Then using that wisdom as the foundation for your next evolutionary leap. This is the spiral nature of growth. You don't move forward in a straight line. You spiral upward, repeatedly returning. The moment you notice 3, immediately stop whatever you're doing. Don't just acknowledge it mentally and move on. Actually, stop. Take 3 conscious breaths. Not normal breaths, but deliberate, full breaths, where you're completely present to the sensation of air moving through your body. First breath. Breathe in for a count of 3. Hold for 3. Exhale for 3. As you inhale, imagine pulling energy from the earth up through your body. As you hold, imagine this energy gathering in your heart center. As you exhale, imagine it expanding out in all directions, creating an electromagnetic field around you. Second breath, same pattern. Inhale for 3, hold for 3, exhale for 3. This time, as you inhale, pull energy down from above, from the quantum field of infinite possibility. As you hold, let it mix with the earth energy in your heart. As you exhale, imagine this combined energy broadcasting your clearest intention into the field. Third breath. Again, 3 count in, 3 count hold, 3 count out. This final breath seals the activation. As you inhale, you're confirming your choice. As you hold, you're anchoring it in your body. As you exhale, you're releasing it to materialize in perfect timing. After these 3 breaths, ask yourself this question: what is the most aligned action I can take right now? Don't force an answer. Just hold the question in your awareness and notice what arises. It might be a thought, a feeling, an image, or an impulse. Whatever comes, trust it. That's your higher consciousness speaking through the 3 portal. This entire practice takes less than 1 minute, but it transforms a passive number sighting into an active, reality-shaping moment. You're not just noticing synchronicity. You're using it as a technology for conscious creation. The ancient Essenes, the mystical Jewish sect that some scholars believe Jesus was trained by, had a similar practice. When they encountered signs or omens, they would immediately enter a state they called hitbodedut, solitary communion with the divine. They understood that the sign itself was meaningless. What mattered was using the sign as a doorway into deeper states of consciousness. In Tibetan Buddhism, practitioners use what's called a terma, a hidden treasure or teaching that appears when the student is ready to receive it. These termas aren't always physical objects. Sometimes they're experiences, realizations, or synchronicities that unlock dormant wisdom. 3 functions as a terma, a hidden teaching revealing itself through mathematical pattern. The Mayans, masters of mathematical and astronomical precision, used the number 3 in their sacred calendar systems. They understood time not as linear, but as cyclical, moving in overlapping waves and spirals. Each cycle had 3 phases: creation, maintenance, and dissolution. Then, a new creation would begin. When 3 appears, you're touching all 3 phases simultaneously. You're completing something, maintaining something, and beginning something all at once. This is why these moments feel so rich, so full of potential. Multiple timelines are converging, and you're standing at the intersection with conscious choice. In the comments, drop one thing you deeply desire. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's a happy relationship. Maybe it's a healthy and fit body. Maybe it's something uniquely yours. Let this be a small but profound declaration, a signal to the universe you send, not just in this space, but in the quantum field. But there's something about 3, 3, 3 that spiritual teachers avoid discussing because it challenges the comfortable narrative of you're always protected and guided. The truth is, 3, 3, 3 doesn't discriminate between positive and negative intentions. It simply amplifies whatever frequency you're broadcasting. If you see 3, 3, 3 while dwelling in fear, resentment, or victim consciousness, you're being shown that you're about to crystallize more of those frequencies into your reality. The number doesn't judge. It doesn't say think positive thoughts. It simply reflects back your current broadcast state with amplification. This is the shadow side of synchronicity that most people want to ignore. Number patterns aren't always confirmation that you're on the right path. Carl Jung called this the negredo phase of transformation, the blackening, the death of the false self before the true self can be born. 3, 3, 3 appearing during difficult times means you're in the sacred chaos that precedes breakthrough. Don't rush to the light. Honor the darkness. It's doing essential work. The number 3 also represents the trickster archetype in many mythologies. Loki in Norse tradition, Coyote in Native American stories, Hermes in Greek mythology. The trickster disrupts, deceives, and creates chaos, but always for the purpose of evolution and growth. Sometimes 3, 3, 3 is the universe being a trickster, shaking up your comfortable patterns so you're forced to evolve. This is why spiritual bypassing, the tendency to use spiritual concepts to avoid dealing with uncomfortable realities, is so dangerous when working with synchronicities. You can't just see 3, 3, 3, say an affirmation, and expect your life to magically improve while avoiding the shadow work that's required for genuine transformation. The Trinity also represents thesis, antithesis, synthesis. You hold a belief, thesis. Life presents a contradiction, antithesis. The tension between them creates something new, synthesis. 3, 3, 3 often appears during the antithesis phase, when your beliefs are being challenged and you're tempted to retreat into old patterns rather than allowing the synthesis to emerge. True spiritual growth isn't comfortable. It requires death of who you were to become who you're meant to be. 3, 3, 3 can mark these death moments just as clearly as rebirth moments. Learning to distinguish between them requires brutal honesty with yourself about your current state. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can treat this information like interesting content you consume and forget, or you can let it fundamentally change how you operate in reality. The difference between these two choices is embodiment. Embodiment means you don't just understand the concept, you become the concept. You stop seeking 3, 3, 3 sightings and start being the frequency that 3, 3, 3 represents. You transform from someone who receives signs to someone who is the sign. When you embody the 3, 3, 3 frequency, something remarkable happens. The number appears less frequently because you no longer need the external reminder. You've internalized the coherent state it represents. You've become a walking 3, 3, 3, broadcasting that creative frequency constantly. This is what I call becoming a reality anchor. Most people are reality drifters blown by every circumstance, reacting to external events, seeking validation from outside themselves. But reality anchors are different. They become the stable center around which reality organizes itself. Think of a ship's anchor. It doesn't move with the waves and currents. It holds firm, providing stability while everything around it shifts and changes. When you become a 3, 3, 3 reality anchor, you hold the frequency of coherent creation regardless of external circumstances. This doesn't mean you become rigid or inflexible. Anchors have chains that allow movement while maintaining position. You remain responsive to life's flow while staying rooted in your core creative frequency. You bend without breaking. You adapt without losing yourself. The ancient Stoic philosophers understood this principle. They distinguish between what's within your control, your thoughts, choices, responses, and what's outside your control, external events, other people's actions, outcomes. They taught that true power comes from focusing exclusively on what you can control, while remaining equanimous about what you cannot. When you embody 3, 3, 3, you're operating from this Stoic wisdom enhanced with quantum understanding. You're not trying to control reality. You're choosing which frequency to broadcast, knowing that reality will organize itself to match your broadcast. This is the ultimate freedom. You're no longer at the mercy of circumstances because you've recognized that circumstances are reflections of consciousness. Change the consciousness and circumstances follow. It's not instant, and it's not always linear, but it's inevitable. If you're truly ready to embody this frequency, if your brain just went, "Damn, I needed to hear that," hit subscribe and the bell icon next to it. This isn't just a channel, it's a frequency. If you felt a nudge or a change while watching, you're already tuned in. We're not just watching content, we're practicing new ways of being. We're not just absorbing, we're creating possibilities. There's a critical mass phenomenon happening on our planet. As more individuals awaken to their nature as conscious creators, the collective field of human consciousness is approaching a phase transition. Mathematicians call this a bifurcation point. Systems theorists call it the edge of chaos. Mystics call it the shift. The number 3, 3, 3 is appearing with increasing frequency to increasing numbers of people because humanity as a species is at a triple convergence point. We're completing one evolutionary cycle and beginning another. 3 major timeline possibilities are converging, and the choices we make now, individually and collectively, will determine which timeline crystallizes. Timeline 1. Continued unconsciousness, leading to ecological collapse and social fragmentation. This is the path of separation, fear, and control. It's the timeline where humanity forgets its divine nature and identifies exclusively with material form. Timeline 2. Awakening to unity consciousness, ecological harmony, and collaborative creation. This is the path of remembering, love, and co-creation. It's the timeline where humanity recalls its role as conscious participants in the universe's evolutionary process. Timeline 3. A hybrid timeline where both possibilities coexist in different population segments, creating a bifurcated reality. Some humans ascending in consciousness, while others remain in fear-based patterns, eventually diverging into separate, experiential realities. Every time 333 appears, you're being invited to vote for Timeline 2 with your consciousness. You're being reminded that you're not a passive observer of humanity's future. You're an active creator of it. Your coherence matters. Your choices ripple through the collective field. The ancient prophecies from multiple traditions all point to this moment. The Hopi speak of the Great Purification. The Maya pointed to 2012 as the end of one cosmic cycle and beginning of another. The Vedic texts describe this as the transition from Kali Yuga to Satya Yuga. All were seeing the same evolutionary moment from different cultural perspectives. 333 is one of the primary frequency markers of this transition. It's the code that appears in the consciousness of those ready to midwife the new paradigm. You're not seeing it by accident. You're seeing it because you came here in this lifetime at this moment to participate in this shift. This isn't spiritual ego or chosen one mythology. Every conscious being on the planet right now chose to be here during this pivotal time. But not everyone remembers their choice. 333 is a wake-up call, a reminder of the mission you agreed to before entering this physical form. When you embody the 333, 3 frequency. You're not just healing yourself, you're contributing to the healing of the entire human collective. Your coherent field state makes it easier for others to access coherence. Your conscious choices strengthen the morphic field of awakened humanity. This is the true meaning of service. Not sacrificing yourself for others, but becoming so fully yourself, so completely aligned with your truth, that you naturally inspire others to do the same. You become living proof that conscious creation is real, that awakening is possible, that a different way of being exists. Drop one word in the comments that captures the energy you're stepping into today. Trust, flow, joy, ease. Your word matters. Let that word be a small but profound declaration, a signal like a quantum seed you plant not just in this space, but in the quantum field. So breathe, not to escape, but to embody, not to seek, but to recognize, not to become, but to remember. You've journeyed through the hidden mathematics of consciousness, discovering that 3, 3, 3 isn't a message from angels, but a frequency signature of your own creative coherence becoming visible to your awareness. You've learned that these triple-digit moments mark quantum bifurcation points, where multiple timelines converge and your consciousness has maximum creative power. You've discovered that the number 3 is encoded into the structure of reality itself, from DNA codons to atomic particles to sacred geometry. You'll use it as a portal to deepen that coherence, to make choices from alignment rather than fear, to anchor the frequency that serves your highest evolution. This is the real secret. 3, 3. 3 doesn't mean you're special or chosen or protected. It means you're aware. And awareness, sustained and embodied, is the ultimate creative force in the universe. Everything else follows from awareness. As you leave this space, take this understanding with you. Let it inform every choice, every breath, every moment. You're not seeking synchronicities. You're becoming the synchronicity. You're not waiting for signs. You're becoming the sign. The universe isn't speaking to you through 333. The universe is speaking through you, recognizing itself, celebrating its own creative power that you are expressing in this unique form. Make sure you share this video with your loved ones. Remember, you're not just sharing, you're spreading awareness, positive energy, and transformation. For someone in need, this might mean a life-changing shift, and their gratitude will increase positivity in the collective field. Now that you understand the quantum mechanics of number synchronicities and how they mark reality bifurcation points, you're ready to discover how to consciously navigate these choice points to materialize your desired timeline. There's a specific sequence of awareness that determines whether synchronicity leads to manifestation or just remains an interesting coincidence. And understanding this sequence changes everything about how you interact with the quantum field itself.